Hey all, welcome to Share Trek Curiosity Channel. Today I have a very interesting topic for you. If you've ever put your heart and soul into your work, only to watch others advance while you remain stagnant, you're not alone. Across industries and positions, from factory floors to corporate boardrooms, classrooms to creative studios, countless dedicated individuals find themselves questioning a fundamental promise of our society, that hard work and talent will be fairly rewarded. This disconnect between effort and recognition isn't just frustrating, it can be profoundly demoralizing. Today, we're examining the gap between the meritocracy we're promised and the reality many of us experience, not to discourage you, but to offer clarity, validation, and a path forward that acknowledges both personal agency and systemic realities. Meritocracy, the belief that success is determined purely by individual talent, effort, and achievement, is deeply embedded in our cultural narrative. While this idea offers comfort by suggesting we control our destinies, reality reveals a far more complex landscape. Societal structures, systemic biases, and unequal access to opportunities frequently disrupt the presumed direct link between merit and success, creating a system that often reproduces privilege rather than rewarding talent. The term meritocracy was coined by sociologist Michael Young in his 1958 satirical work, The Rise of the Meritocracy. Contrary to how the concept is celebrated today, Young's intention was cautionary. His dystopian vision warned that a society organized strictly around perceived merit would ultimately create new hierarchies and reinforce inequality rather than eliminate it, a prophecy that has proven remarkably prescient. The structural barriers to success. Unequal starting points. The meritocratic ideal ignores the reality that people begin life's race from drastically different starting lines. Access to quality education, nutritious food, safe housing, healthcare, mentorship, and financial stability varies tremendously across socioeconomic backgrounds. In the United States, the neighborhood where a child grows up profoundly shapes their educational trajectory. Students in low-income areas typically attend chronically underfunded schools with fewer advanced courses, outdated resources, and overwhelmed teachers. A 2021 study by the Economic Policy Institute revealed that children from the top 1% of income distribution are 77 times more likely to attend an Ivy League university than those from the bottom 20%. Not because of inherent differences in ability, but due to accumulated advantages, including test preparation resources, private counseling, and legacy admissions practices that favor those already privileged. The adage, "It's not what you know, but who you know," contradicts meritocratic principles, yet remains stubbornly accurate. Many professional opportunities, particularly leadership positions, are secured through personal connections rather than objective assessments of talent. Silicon Valley exemplifies this phenomenon. Despite its celebration of innovation and disruption, hiring practices in tech frequently rely on insular networks. A LinkedIn analysis revealed that 70% of professionals were hired at companies where they had a connection. The consequences are predictable: homogeneous workforces that reflect existing privilege patterns. In 2023, despite decades of diversity initiatives, major tech companies' leadership remained overwhelmingly white and male, with women of color particularly underrepresented in technical and executive roles. Bias and discrimination. Even when formal barriers to entry are removed, implicit and explicit biases continue to distort supposedly merit-based evaluation processes. The landmark Bertrand and Mulanathan study dramatically illustrated this reality by sending identical resumes to employers, varying only the perceived racial identity of the applicant through names typically associated with white or black Americans. Resumes with white-sounding names receive 50% more interview callbacks despite identical qualifications. Similar experiments have documented bias based on gender, age, disability status, and other characteristics unrelated to competence. For those who do break through initial barriers, the challenges continue. Research consistently shows that women in leadership positions face what's called the glass cliff, being more likely to be appointed to precarious leadership roles during periods of crisis, then facing harsher judgment for outcomes. A 2022 study in the Harvard Business Review found that female CEOs were 45% more likely to be dismissed than male counterparts when company performance declined, even when the decline was industry-wide rather than company-specific. The meritocracy myth creates a particularly insidious form of psychological harm. When individuals internalize the belief that success is solely determined by personal merit, systemic failures are reinterpreted as personal inadequacies. This misattribution creates a double burden for those facing structural barriers. Not only must they navigate more challenging circumstances, but they're more likely to blame themselves for not overcoming them. This phenomenon contributes to higher rates of depression, anxiety, and imposter syndrome among individuals from marginalized groups working in competitive fields. Paradoxically, research shows that organizations that explicitly advertise themselves as meritocratic actually exhibit more bias in their evaluation processes, as they become less vigilant about examining their own fairness. Rethinking success. Acknowledging the flaws in our meritocratic systems doesn't mean abandoning the value of hard work, talent, or achievement. Rather, it creates space for a more nuanced understanding of success, one that recognizes both individual agency and structural context. True progress requires both personal responsibility and collective action to dismantle structural inequities. This means implementing policies that expand access to quality education, regardless of zip code, creating transparent hiring and promotion practices that mitigate bias, providing social supports that ensure basic needs are met, and cultivating diverse leadership that represents varied lived experiences. The myth of meritocracy serves those already privileged by obscuring the invisible advantages and barriers that shape our trajectories. By acknowledging these hidden forces, we can work towards systems that more authentically reward talent and effort, while ensuring everyone has a genuine opportunity to develop and demonstrate their capabilities. A society that truly values merit must be equally committed to creating conditions where merit can be recognized regardless of background. Until then, the meritocracy narrative remains more mythology than reality, a comforting fiction that justifies existing hierarchies rather than transcending them. So where does this leave you, the dedicated professional whose contributions may be overlooked? First, recognize that your frustration is valid and rooted in real systemic issues, not personal shortcomings. This awareness alone can be liberating. Second, practice strategic self-advocacy. Document your achievements, build allies who will amplify your contributions, and seek environments that demonstrate fair evaluation practices. Third, when possible, use any influence you gain to create more transparent and equitable conditions for others. Remember that while individual navigation of imperfect systems is necessary, collective efforts to transform those systems remain essential. Your work has value, regardless of whether current structures properly recognize it. By balancing pragmatic career strategies with a clear-eyed understanding of systemic barriers, you can pursue professional fulfillment while contributing to more meritocratic workplaces for everyone. Hope you enjoyed this segment. If you did, please do not hesitate to press the like button as it helps us with the algorithms. Please consider subscribing to our channel and letting your friends know about us. We would be grateful. Until I get curious about the next topic, stay safe and stay connected. Bye for now.